Hello everyone, my name is Gyanendra Singh and I am here to present my capstone project on hotel booking analysis, which is an exploratory data analysis project. Uh, so let's start with the project summary first. So in the given data set, uh, we have the data of the hotel bookings, and we need to explore and analyze the given data set and discover some important factors regarding the hotel bookings, and for which we will be using collab notebook, and we'll understand the data first, and we'll clean the data, and then we will add some columns and as per the requirements, and remove also some columns as per the requirement. And using this data frame, actually we will explore some variables using the visualization charts like pie charts, count plots, bar plots, heat maps, etc. And using these insights, we will suggest some business objectives uh, to the clients. And here's my GitHub link for the project, and I'll show you the repository also. So this is the repository, GitHub repository for this project. Okay, so let's move ahead with the problem statement. So actually our project is divided into three parts. First is data collection, and then data cleaning, and then exploratory data analysis. And the data analysis actually is divided into three parts, which is univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, and multivariate analysis. So we'll look into the problem statement first. And so in this project, actually we are going to analyze the hotel booking data set, and this data set contains information about the city hotels or the resort hotels, and also includes the information of booking time, length of their stay, and the number of adults, children's or babies, and also have the information available about the parking spaces, among the other things. And the objective of this project is to explore and analyze the data, and to discover important and major factors regarding hotel bookings and its attributes. So our business objective is to analyze the data and on the hotel bookings, and to discover the different factors which affects the booking. So these are the general guidelines. Let's dive into the column description first. So actually we have a few columns, and in which the hotel column represents the type of hotel, whether it is a resort hotel or the city hotel. Is cancelled gives out if the booking was cancelled or not. So if it is 1, it is cancelled, and if it is not, it will be 0. So lead time will be the number of days that elapsed between the entering date of the booking into the PMS and the arriving date. The arrival date year will be the year of arrival date. Uh, Arrival date month will be the month of the arrival date. Arrival date week number will be the week number of the arrival date. And arrival day will be the day of arrival date. And stays and weekends night will be the number of weekend nights, which will be Saturdays or Sundays, the guest stayed on the or booked the stay at the hotel. And stays in weeknights will be the Monday to Friday days, when the guest has stayed or booked the hotel rooms. So adults will be the number of adults, children will be the number of children, and babies will be the number of babies, infants or the babies. So meal will be kind of the meal they have opted for, and country will be the country code, and market segment will be which segment the customer actually belongs to. Distribution channel will be how the customer accessed the stay, whether using the direct booking or using corporate bookings. And next one will be the is repeated guest, so whether the guest is coming for the first time or not, basically that. And Previous cancellation will be the was the customer the was there a cancellation before prior to this booking or prior to these bookings or not. Previous bookings will be the count of the previous bookings. Reserved room type will be the type of the room they have reserved. Assigned room type will be the type of room they have been assigned. Assigned room type, yeah. So booking changes will be the count of changes made to the booking, and next one will be the deposit type. So basically it explains itself, the type of deposit they have put in for the booking, against the booking, yeah. And the agent booked, whether they have booked through an agent or not. So days in waiting list will be the number of days in the waiting list, and the next will be the customer type. So the type of customer, required car parking will be if the car parking is required or not, basically. So total number of special requests will be the, if there is an additional request, special request has been made, so the number of those additional requests. Reservation status will be the status of the reservation. The reservation, next one will be the date, reservation status date. That would be the date of the specific status. So now let's begin. So first of all, we will be importing the all the necessary libraries such as numpys and pandas, and from numpy we are importing math and load text. We are also importing cmon and matplotlib by pyplot, and next one will be loading the dataset. So to load the dataset, first of all we will be mounting our drive. So after mounting our drive, we will be reading the dataset and saving it into a data frame using pd.read_csv. So this is the first view of the dataset. This is the first 5 observations or the readings of the dataset. Next is the tail of the data, so last 5, basically the last 5 readings of the dataset or the observations of the dataset. Next one will be the count of the rows and columns. So there are 119,390 rows and 32 columns. We got that using df.shape, and now let's look into the dataset information using df.info. So as we can see, all the data types of all the columns, what are the data types of all the columns, and the count of all the non-null values of all the columns. So next one will be the description of actual database. So it gives out the mean, the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum value, the quartiles or the 25% or 50% or 75%, and the maximum value for the columns. Next one would be what we'll do, we'll create a copy of this dataset and we'll be working on that copy of the dataset only. So we will our new dataset will be df1, and now we'll be checking the duplicate values. So for duplicate values, what we'll use df1 dot duplicate dot values count. So it will give the counts of all the duplicates values. So true or false will give whether there are duplicate values or not. Next one will be visualizing the duplicate values. So here we can see, we just minimize it a little bit so I'll have a better clear view. So here you can see the false values are 87396, which are the false element. These are not the duplicate value, but the 31,994 values are duplicate values. So here you can see. So what we will do, we will drop all the duplicate values using drop function. So what we will do, what we'll do, we'll drop using df1 dot drop underscore duplicate. So we'll drop all the duplicate values. So as you can see here, now 87396 is the non-duplicate values, or the readings or the observations that we have discovered here, 87396. Now moving forward, we'll look into the null values or the missing values. We will use is null and uh, we'll find out in which of the columns the null values are there, and if yes, then how many null values are there. So yeah, okay. So if you want to visualize all the null values, here we can visualize all the null values. So as you can see, the company and the agent has the most null values present over there. So yeah, you can clearly see here, and only 4 values in children column are here. You can see children column here, we can see there are null values, and in country also we have 452. So you can clearly see over here, in children column it's not showing because because there are really minimal values, so it, it might not be showing in the, yeah, there will be very small spec. So what we'll do, so by this given data set, we have observed that the data set of this hotel booking, uh, we have discovered that the important factors which affects the hotel booking, and the above data set has around 119390 rows and 32 columns, and the duplicate values count was 31994, and in 32 columns, and there are 4 columns in which the missing values, uh, there are 4 columns in which there were missing values, and those columns were company, agent, country, and the children. So now we'll take a deeper dive to our variables. We'll understand our variables. So by using df1 dot columns, we'll look into all the um, columns that are there. Yeah, and next would be, yes, so description of the columns. Next one would be, yes, variable descriptions also is over here, so which I have explained earlier also. Next one would be checking the unique values, whether there are some unique values or not, or like if we have the unique values or not, and we'll check it and we'll describe all the unique values using a lambda function uh, for each individual column. So you can see these are the unique values, all the unique values which are given over here using we have used lambda function for describing our unique values in the data set. So we'll start with the data wrangling part, and in data wrangling, first what we will do, we'll drop all the duplicates first, and which will give out uh, which will leave us with 87396 rows and 32 columns. And next one will be the null will be replacing null values will be we will replace the null values actually, and after replacing all the null values, we can clearly see over here that if we'll check the null values here, all the null values are 0, right? And next one will be adding some columns also. So we'll be adding the total staying days in hotels, and stays in the hotels, and we'll be adding the total number of people uh, as a column. So we'll be adding two extra columns. So after adding these columns, we'll see that we have actually now 34 columns instead of 32. So there are some rows with the total number of adults and children and babies equals to 0. This means which means actually there's no booking made uh, without there, and so we can remove those columns also. So how much, so first of all we'll find out how much of those number of columns are there, sorry, number of observations are there, records are there. So it came out to be 166. So we'll drop all those 166 columns. So now we will start with data visualization, and now yeah, after all the manipulations what we have got out. So first would be in the given data set there were 31994 duplicates values, so we removed those values, and there were 4 columns which were missing values, and the name of those columns were company, agent, children and country. Yeah, so the values from these columns were replaced by 0. We replaced those columns values by 0, and in the data frame we added 2 new columns which were total stays and total people. 3 columns which were adults, children and babies had value 0 in them, which means no booking has been done there. So uh, we have removed those columns also. Okay, so we'll start. So next we will be starting with our data visualization, our EDA part. So the first question what we'll be asking is, which type of hotel is mostly preferred by the guests? We'll be starting with univariate analysis in this. First one will be, yeah, so we've used the value counts function in the hotel column, and we found out that city hotels and resort hotels, the type of hotels in which city hotels and resort hotels were there. So we have found out which type of hotel was mostly preferred by the guests, and we have visualized it using a pie chart in which we can see that 61.07% of the guests were chose city hotels, and the rest 38.93 used chose resort hotels. So the insight from this chart was the same. Yeah, we found out that the city hotels had more booking, which was 61.07, and the resort hotel was having less booking, which was 38.93% of the total. Next question would be, which agent made the most of the bookings? So we have used value count again for the agent column, and which given us uh, the number of bookings done by the agent code or the agent number, which is given over here, right? So we will visualize it. As we can see, agent which goes by the number 9 has the most booking, which was 28,721. Yes, and yeah, agent number 9 has made the most of the bookings. Now, yeah, so what are the what are the insights actually? So the insights were that the agent 9 has 9 has more bookings, which made a positive impact, and agent 1 and 6 has less booking, which had a negative impact on the business. And next one will be the booking made by the agent 1 and 6 were about in total were about 4.27% of the agent 9, which was the highest booking. So Yes. Next one would be the percentage of repeated guest. So 0 would be the repeated guest, and 1 would be the non-repeated guest, as we have seen in the column. Okay. So the repeated guests were 83866, and the non-repeated guests were 3364. Okay, sorry. Uh, yeah. So 1 is actually the repeated guest, and 0 is non-repeated guest. I'm so sorry for that. So we can see in the visualization of using our pie chart, we can see the 96.14% of the guests did not repeated their booking, and only 3.86% were have repeated their booking. So we can clearly see that uh, the gained the retained guests were significantly very less, and the hotel should be working on retaining the guests by giving them good services, not because it will lead to a negative impact. Yeah. And actually they need to improve on their services, so they can take the feedbacks from the bookings after the during the checkout time, and yes, by that they can improve on their services, and they can retain the customers more. Next question would be, what is the most preferred room type by the customer? So there, yeah, so yeah, we can see that there are several room types, like room types A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and L, and the most preferred room type is A, which has booking over 46,283 highest booking, and the room type D, which was the next highest, has almost half of the booking, more than the half of the booking, sorry, less than the half of the booking, I'll say. So room type A had the highest booking, as we can see in the second, as we can see in the uh, chart also. So what are the insights that we have gained? Room type A had the highest booking, and room type D had almost like much less than half of the booking of the room type A. So and room type HIKL had the less preferred about the less preferred room types. Yeah. Next one would be the food, the type of food which was mostly preferred by the guests. So there are 5 categories of food which were defined, and the BB type category had the highest turnout, which was 67,907, and the second highest was SC category, which was 9,391, the type of food. So here in the representation of the chart, you can also see the BB type had the most turnouts. Next one would be in which month of the year most booking will happen. So um, yeah, so as we can see, in the month of, let me just, okay, yeah, sure. As we can see here, that we have, yes, wait, Is there a change? Okay. We've changed the sequence. We've changed the sequence. Sure. So as we can see, the highest booking in the month was in the month of August, which was 11,242, and the next highest was in the month of July, which was 10,043 bookings. So yes, the insights from this graph will be, or this analysis would be, then in the month of July and August, they have the most. We had the most booking. They had the most booking, and in the month of November, December, and January, they had the less booking. And and in the month of July and August, the average booking and the number in November, December, and January mm, were the had below average bookings. And next one would be the distribution channel that they have used for the booking. First one would be the TATO. Next one would be the highest booking channel distribution channel that was used was TA/TO, and next one would be next highest would be the direct bookings, and after that corporate bookings. Next one would be the GDS booking, and last one would be the independent bookings. As you can see over here also, the count of all the bookings, and here we can see the percentage of the booking. So clearly we can see the 79.13% of the total booking were done using distribution channel TS/TO, which we can see in the graph also. Yes. So next question would be, in which year uh, they had the highest booking. So we have the data available for 3 years only, which was of 2015, 16, and 17. And in the year 2016, they had the highest bookings. Yeah, they had the highest bookings. So what we have done in this count plot is we have divided the total observations, into their hotel types, in which blue one is this is all total type, and the orange one is the city hotel type, and if we'll combine, we'll get the exact number. So we can see, if we'll combine the values of the blue one and the orange one, the city hotels, we'll get a value of around for 42,330 in the year of 2016. So next one would be, yeah, next one would be we'll use, so we'll start bivariate and multivariate analysis from here on now. uh, Sorry. So next question would be that which hotel type had the highest ADR, and for this what we'll use group by functions, and we'll get the average, the ADR for the city hotels and the resort hotels. So clearly we can see over here for the city hotels, the ADR was the highest, and hmm, yeah, and we'll move on with the hotels which had the longer waiting time. The waiting time actually directly impacts the businesses also. Longer the waiting time, lesser will be the possibility to you know get the booking done. So as we can see, the the days in the waiting list count, if we'll see using group by, we have done days in the waiting list using hotel for the hotel types. So for the city hotel, it turned out to be 1 0.02 something, and for the resort hotels it was actually less. So as we can see in the chart also, this for the city hotel the waiting time was significantly higher. So the reason might be the larger number of bookings in the city hotel, as we have seen in the previous observations also, that city hotel had the larger booking, so the waiting time obviously must be higher for them. Okay. So it also shows that uh, resort hotels are much more readily available than the city hotels because they had significantly less number of bookings. Yes. And next one would be which distribution channel contributed more to the ADR in order to increase the income. So what we have done is took the ADR and grouped by the ADR value and grouped by the distribution channel and the hotel type. So for the corporate and the city hotel, for the corporate distribution channel, the city hotel had the ADR of 83.77, and for corporate distribution channel, the resort hotel had the ADR of 53.03. So yes, we can clearly see that distribution using our count plot over here, sorry, bar plot over here, in which blue represents the city hotels and orange represents the resort hotels. So we can clearly see over here for the direct booking, yeah, for the direct booking, mm, actually for the TATO it is highest. Yes, let me just count it. Yeah, one, yeah. But for the yeah, direct booking is highest. Okay, okay, just because of yeah, if we'll count all the TAT only, then only it is the highest. Okay, so we can clearly see for the types of hotels, the direct booking was the highest, and we can say that the GDS distribution channel contributed more to the ADR for the city hotels, and undefined distribution channel contributed more to the ADR of the resort hotels, and this makes actually a positive impact on the business. And next one would be uh, the similar, I guess. Yes. Hmm. Yes. Now let's move on with the next question, which is what is the optimal stay length in both types of hotels. So this total stay column shows the number of days someone has, you know, was in the hotel, and these are the types of hotel for those days. We have used group by uh, and the aggregate function of count for the number of stays. Yeah. So we can clearly see over here for city resort, and for the city resort only, if we'll see city hotels, we'll see 3 days is the maximum days someone has spent um, in a hotel, in a city hotel. And for the resort hotel, if you just look into only the resort hotel, 1 day was the highest someone has stayed over in a resort hotel. So we can clearly see that the number of total number of stays in days is much more higher in uh, in the city hotels, significantly higher in the city hotels. uh, if we count the lesser number of days, like 4, 3, 4 or 5 days, but in the resort hotels for the longer period of time, if we'll see um, the resort hotels came out to be their choices, if I say. So because we can clearly see for the first 5 days, for the five days, actually the city hotels were the preferable choice, but it actually started decreasing as the number of days increased. Like after, you can see that for the 6 days of stay, people preferably choose uh, resort after more than 6 days. For more than longer stays, for longer stays more than 6 days, people started preferring resort hotels more than the city hotels. So for the city hotels, uh, yeah, for a lesser number of days, city hotels was the preference, and for the longer stay, uh, the resort hotels were the preference. So the optimal stay length for both the hotels is actually around 7 days. Next one would be the relationship between the repeated guest and the previous bookings which were not cancelled. So we have made a graph. So non-repeated guests and the repeated sorry non-repeated guest and the repeated guests. In the repeated guests, the previous booking were not cancelled for the highest number of time, I'll say. So yes, we can see that the non-repeated guests cancelled their previous bookings also. We can clearly see over here. So next one would be the relationship between the ADR and the total number of people. So so we can clearly see over here the ADR for the more number of people was highest. The number of people, when the number of people were 4, the total number of people staying in the hotel were 4, the ADR was the highest. So as the number of people increases, so we can clearly imply that as the number of people staying in the hotel increases, the ADR also increases. Last one would be the correlation heat map. So we'll try to find out the correlation between two features, whether they are highly correlated or negative, highly correlated positively, highly correlated or not. So as we can see, let me just minimize it a little bit actually, if it is visible. Wait, okay, clear. So we can clearly see over here that the column arrival date and the arrival date week number has the negative correlation of 0.51. And yes, yeah, we can clearly negative correlation. So the column arrival date and the arrival date and the arrival date week number had our negative correlation. We should look into here, right? And the stays, okay, it's very small, it's very large. Wait, it's not adjusting right, and now it's clear, I guess. And the stays, so arrival date year and arrival date week number has columns has the negative correlation of minus 0.51, and stays in the week nights and total stays had a positive correlation of 0.95. So here, yeah, 0.95. We can clearly see over here. So these were two most significant correlations with what we have observed. Okay, sorry. So next one would be the solutions we can suggest to the business. So first one would be they would need to increase the hotel business. Some factors which are important like revenue generation and customer satisfaction, facilities provided by the hotel. And next one would be um, we were able to achieve this. We will be able to achieve same things by showing to the client which hotel is most preferred, the percentage of the repeated guest, and mostly um, preferred food by the guest, and then which hotel had the highest ADR. Next one would be the most preferred uh, room type and in room type and it will actually help to uh, advance the insight, and which will help the client for the further enhancement in their hospitality. Next one would be uh, I was able to show that which food type was the most preferred, so that the client can offer the most preferred food items for food type to the guests. Next one would be the most preferred month was shown in the bar plot, so that the client will be well prepared in advance for the minimum grievances, and so that the minimum grievances would be faced by the client during that um, peak time of bookings. Next is using the bar plot, I was able to show the hotel, which hotel type has the highest ADR, and so that client can also analyze that which hotel has the highest income. And next one would be which hotel was the busiest hotel, so that the client will be doing the relatable changes in the facilities in the less busy hotels, or uh, less busy hotels types. And next one would be the relationship between the repeated guest and the previous bookings not cancelled. So we have clearly seen that the repeated guests actually were the person who were not actually cancelling their previous bookings. So those will be those clients. So the clients can prefer the repeated guests. And next one, last one would be the relationship between the ADR and the total number of people shown that the client will prefer the maximum number of people. So we have clearly seen that the more the number of people staying in the hotel, more will be the ADR. Last one would be the conclusion. So for the conclusion, I'll start with um, the first one, in which we've clearly seen that the city hotel had the was the most preferred hotel type by the guests. Next one about the agents. So the agent number 9 had made the most of the bookings. Next one would be the percentage of repeated guests, uh, which was um, significantly less, uh, and it was 3.86% only. The room type A was the most preferred room type, and the mostly preferred food type was BB type food. And in the month of August, the most bookings were made, and after the month of August, July was the second highest month. So TATO distribution channel was mostly used, and the percentage for that was 79.13%. Next, we talk about the ADR. So City Hotel had the highest ADR, and ADR actually means the highest ADR means the more revenue. So next one would be the year of, like, in which year the highest booking were there. So in the year of 2016, the highest booking were made, which were around 42,313. Next one would be City Hotel had the highest waiting time, um, which means city hotels were the busier hotels rather than the resort hotels. So yes, and next one would be GDS distribution channel had the most ADR, had contributed most in ADR in city hotels, but there was no contribution in the resort hotels. So that was that. And next one would be the optimal stay length in both type hotels was less than 7 days. So for less than 7 days, uh, the 7 days was the optimal length of stay. Next one would be the repeated guests. So the guest who did not, the repeated guest, so non-repeated guest actually had done the most cancellations in the past. We had seen that. Okay, the next one would be if the number of people was larger, the ADR also was larger, and it meant that revenue was increased. Next one would be about the correlations. So we have found out two significant correlations. First one was a negative correlation between the arrival date year and the arrival date week number column. It had a negative correlation of minus of 0.51, and next one would be a positive correlation. So in the positive correlation, the column name were stays in week, nights, and the total stays had the positive correlation of 0.95. So with this, I would like to say thank you, and yeah, thank you so much.